Limerick Cadence Mansion might be a mouthful, but it may also be one of the best upcoming survival horror games to keep a lookout for. Fortunately, the sole developer was generous enough to grant me a key to the demo prior to the general public's access, and believe me when I tell you that this game's going to be solid. From the convoluted lore spread about the mansion, to the silver-tongued marionette with psychotic homicidal tendencies, it's hard to believe that just one human being is working on this. From what I gather with my hands-on preview, the story seems to play a prominent role in the overall experience. Journal entries scattered around the mansion tell a story that seemingly weaves through time and space itself, as scientists and subjects alike participate in a series of grueling tests to enhance their connection with Limerick and its extraordinary psi-thermic powers and abilities. Unaware of how they arrived at the mansion, or how to escape their inevitably gruesome fate, proofreaders with darker tendencies actually take a liking to their new home and the opportunity that Limerick has granted them to let loose their sadistic nature, while those of lesser mental constitutions are broken down until little is left of their sanity and even less of their humanity. Overall, it seems like the story is going to be purposely convoluted and will most likely leave the player with more questions than answers. The overall theme of poetry, syntax, writing, and editing is certainly an interesting twist that I've not seen executed this well before. Only time will tell how the namesake marionette Limerick and his knack for speaking in rhymes will shape the fate of the proofreader and perhaps even the outside world. Limerick Cadence Mansion used the Unreal Engine 5, and despite the fact that the game is being created by one single person, it definitely has a certain charm to it. The assets all look very crisp, but it's the lighting that really does the trick. Despite the lack of proper lighting in most of the mansion, Limerick does an excellent job at creating a dizzying and disturbing atmosphere that makes the player feel claustrophobic and forces them to constantly stay on the move. This unnerving setting is only amplified by the game's audio, which forces the player to always watch their back and carefully approach new areas. Enemies that are hidden from the shadows are betrayed by the revealing sounds of their slimy tentacles eagerly writhing towards the player, giving away their position and hinting towards ambushes, dangerous areas, and an emphasis overall on caution when exploring the mansion. Most areas are very poorly lit, but important items necessary for story progress, and even those that are optional, are all highlighted and colored very brightly to ensure the player doesn't miss them depending on their playstyle. While most pathways are dark, it's still possible to make out the shadowy figures creeping towards you from a distance. Through the use of your newly acquired abilities to harness your essence, you're able to create a makeshift light that depletes over time. Fortunately, items needed to replenish your essence are generously strewn about the mansion floors, so running out never seems to be too much of a worry. The same goes for ammunition. It goes without saying that Limerick Cadence Mansion is certainly an FPS, and as such, handguns and even projectiles manifested by your essence can be used to clear away structures blocking the way, and most importantly to deal with the numerous monstrosities living in the mansion. Save points are dedicated save zones that allow the player to heal and view any collectible items, but there's a catch. They must be activated before they can be utilized. As the player explores the mansion, they will come across various components, such as allegory shards, wiring, mechanical parts, etc. Each save station requires a set number of these components in order to be repaired and ready for use. The same goes for the numerous upgrade stations as well. The player has the ability to upgrade handguns, and even their essence ability to increase damage, magazine size, and more. The true experience doesn't really begin until your friendly possessed tutorial bot introduces you to panic closets. These specially designed rooms serve as safe zones during puzzle sequences that allow the player to replenish their health and essence, but most importantly to stay away from the harm. However, there's a catch. In order to use the panic closets, they must be activated by a panic-inducing process that is simple in theory, but quite difficult to do while being pursued by Limerick and his legion of undead goons. Essentially, the player has to retrieve the battery from the closet, charge it at a nearby station, return the charged battery, and kickstart the panic closet before entering. Each of these processes are made much more difficult due to the lengthy time it takes to interact with an item, and also the numerous button mashing sessions needed to not only charge the battery, but kickstart the room prior to its use. In all honesty, I believe the time it takes to interact with an item should be reduced significantly, but I have a feeling this was by design and only adds to the fear of being chased. Almost like how nearly every vehicle in scary movies takes forever to start, the panic closets also have an unreasonable amount of steps needed to be activated. Not only that, but the battery quickly drains while you're inside of it, so keeping it charged and repeating the above steps is a constant priority. This, in conjunction with the time-consuming and repetitive puzzle design, can certainly become more of a chore than a phobia over time. Interestingly enough, the puzzle sequences are required to be completed 3 times in a row. This choice, in my opinion, is one of the biggest design flaws present in Limerick Cadence Mansion. When a puzzle sequence begins, the player is trapped in the confines of a maze-like area that contains multiple riddles or puzzles that must be solved in order to progress. During these sequences, the player is being pursued by not only the never-ending stream of lesser enemies, but also Limerick himself, who's incredibly fast and can only be truly dealt with by a ridiculous number of bullets or escaping in the panic closets. While being chased, the player is tasked with solving the puzzles not once, but 3 times each. Although the style of the puzzle remains the same, the answer or solution varies. This felt so out of place to me and almost seemed like an artificial way to extend these sequences in the game. It would have been much more natural to have more puzzles required to clear an area as opposed to the same puzzles repeatedly. The developer certainly attempted to remedy this by creating various difficulty modes that can grant the player the ability to skip puzzles a set number of times and enhance the panic closet batteries and efficiency. The proofreader difficulty allows some regular puzzles and 1 Limerick puzzle to be bypassed. The essayist difficulty allows all regular puzzles to be bypassed, 1 Limerick puzzle skip, and unlimited battery and panic closets. Not to mention my favorite part is that this game mode allows for the kickstart step to be skipped as well. And lastly, the Master of Writ difficulty features absolutely no changes and is the intended experience the developer had for Limerick Cadence Mansion. Although the addition of these difficulties allows for some relief from the repetitive puzzle sequences, it doesn't truly address the issue at its core. Although I love the idea of panic rooms and even the maintenance required to use them, the fact that they need to be utilized so often to escape imminent death, coupled with the requirement to complete each of the puzzles 3 times, results in a much different emotion than I believe the developer was aiming for. Frustration, not fear. In the end, the captivating lore, creepy atmosphere, and unique premise should be enough to hold most survival horror fans over, but any tweaks to Limerick's most unique features, being the panic closets and the puzzle sequences, would be greeted with open arms. If these segments can be changed to be less tedious, Limerick Cadence Mansion will certainly be a fan favorite. And that's all for this video. If you enjoy videos like this, be sure to like and subscribe. It helps me know that you want more content just like this. Click on these videos here to continue your journey, and I'll see you when you get there. Consider becoming a patron for exclusive behind-the-scenes content, unboxing videos, sneak peeks of my retro gaming collection, and more. And until next time, it's the Inhuman one signing out. Join the Inhuman community today.